Ben is an ordinary guy who suddenly gets the ability to freeze time. It all starts when Ben ends his relationship with his girlfriend Susie, and she violently throws a cup at him. They attend the same school, and when he visits the cafeteria, he sees Susie flirting with another student, Steve Jenkins. Susie is now dating Steve, and Ben wonders how easy it is for someone to move on as he goes over to his seat, and his friend Sean comforts him. Sean sits with him, and they talk about Susie. Ben talks about how Susie is a believer that the grass is greener on the other side, and that he thinks he is unable to satisfy Susie. Ben is an art student, and he is known for his excellent human drawing. Therefore, he attends art classes to distress himself. Ben stays at the school hostel, where he lives with several other students. He cannot sleep because he is still depressed over the breakup, so he walks to the phone booth to call Susie. He apologizes for their strained relationship, inquiring about her relationship with Steve, but she declines the conversation and hangs up. Depressed, Ben soon develops insomnia, unable to rest no matter how hard he tries. He counts the seconds of the night, and he now has 8 extra hours for his use. To kill time, he watches the television, reads books, and goes on solo trips. One midnight, he visits a supermarket to buy something. As he approaches the cashier, he realizes he's out of cash. He removes some items, pays with his last money, and decides he needs to find a way to earn more in his spare time. Fortunately, he sees a flyer that the supermarket seats night workers and decides to apply for a job. Ben submits his credentials to the manager, Mr. Jenkins, and he passionately welcomes him on board. Using nighttime to make money isn't that easy. He works with several colleagues who have managed to find a means of working with the time. Each of them has a technique they use to pass away time. Sharon, one of the cashiers, thinks that looking at the clock makes the time slower, so anytime she is on duty, she will cover her wristwatch and blocks her view of the wall clock. Barry, another worker who is a scooter, before he met Barry at the supermarket, Barry has been popular, as Barry was once videoed having an accident on his bicycle. Another worker is Matt, a close friend of Barry and a scooter too. Matt and Barry have also figured out a way to trade their time. To trade time, Matt and Barry do things they aren't working on. This way, they have fun by doing something against their work ethic. As for Ben, his technique for trading time is more straightforward. What he does is freeze time. He holds the time and pretends the world is stopping for a moment. He then walks around to the supermarket with the time frozen. As he walks, he sees a lovely lady in front of him. With a flashback, Ben explains he first got to know his concept of beauty when he was a young kid. His parents took in a transferred Sweden international student. One day after the Sweden student bathed, she walked past him naked. He admired her, and that was one of his most memorable moments. He saw the girl's panty on the floor, so he took it to her and she opened the door, naked. Returning to reality, he removes the lady's clothes in the supermarket and draws their naked pictures. Anytime he is done with his time freezing, he will release the time by flexing his hands. One morning, as he returns home from work, Sean visits him. As Sean usually does, Sean asks if he has gotten over Susie, but he replies otherwise. Sean says he knows a means by which he can forget Susie. He talks about Sean and says that both of them have been friends since they were kids. On Sean's 12th year birthday, his parents bought him a computer. They play in their leisure time. One day when Sean's mother leaves the house, Sean takes him to a nude magazine he found under his parents' bed. Ben explains how he finds the naked bodies of the women so fascinating, and it was his first time seeing their private areas in such details. When Sean's mother returned, they quickly ran out. She sees them erect and suspects them to be homosexual. Sean tells him the best way to forget Susie is to embrace some Natalie. For them, Natalie is a word they use to describe any affair with the lady they aren't in a relationship with. The name was coined by their neighbor, Natalie. When they were young, Sean wanted to see the hole he was interested in the magazine, so he approached Natalie to show him her vulva. He paid her, and she opened her skirts for him. Since then, the boys in their area paid Natalie for the same service. Upon returning to work the next day, their supermarket employed another staff named Brian, a kung fu trainee. That day, Sharon walks into Ben holding a sandwich. She asks him to give her a bite, and he allows her. He helps her clean her face after the taste. According to Ben, he wishes he could freeze that time. He wishes Sharon could stay in front of him forever, but she couldn't. As the door locks, he feels his heart freezing. He returns to the supermarket and meets Matt and Barry, hiding on the computer. He tells them that their manager Jenkins has asked Sharon on a date. They figuratively imply that after the bite, Jenkins will crush Sharon. As Ben leaves, he thinks about the word crush, as it is used when admiring someone. He talks about the 3 crushes he has ever had. The first is an athlete who runs barefoot. The second is his biology teacher, while the third and main crush is a girl named Tanya Green, his classmate. One day, he returns to class and sees Tanya injured with a cast on her hand. For about 6 weeks, the cast stayed on her hand, and once removed, she had developed dark hair all over her hands. Their classmates mocked her, but he still sees her beauty and approaches to share she's the best thing he's ever seen. Sometime later, Tanya asked for a kiss, and he agreed, promising to meet her as planned. However, when he arrived on the agreed day, she never showed up. Upon returning to school, he finds out that Tanya has relocated to another city with her parents, which upsets him. At work, Jenkins brags about his staff's football skills and organizes a football competition with another group. All the males at the supermarket play the game while Sharon watches outside the field. They lose 26-0, and a minute to the end of the game, Jenkins calls his group and admonishes him to at least score a goal. As the game resumes, the football hits Jenkins. At the same time, Ben freezes time. He walks around the stadium with the time frozen and sees another person walking in his frozen time, revealing that he's not the only one who has this ability. He resumes time and Jenkins is seen badly injured and is taken to the hospital. Ben is to ensure Sharon gets home, so he takes her to eat snacks. He asks her if she is dating Matt, and she responds otherwise. She tells him she didn't have a boyfriend as she broke up with her ex-boyfriend about 6 months ago. They get familiar with each other. He sees her off home, and when they are to bid themselves goodbye, he pecks her on the cheek when she wants a kiss. Upon returning to work the next day, Sharon goes to Jenkins to check up on him. Jenkins tells her he will organize a party for his birthday that Saturday, inviting everyone. Sharon returns to the supermarket and informs Ben of the party. She asks Ben to be her date, and he accepts. That day, Jenkins calls and informs the staff about the party and gives Ben some money to order strippers. Ben returns home to tell Sean about it, and they both visit a strip club to order a private stripper. This is now 4 straight nights without sleep for Ben. He has stopped thinking about Susie and now spends his frozen time drawing and thinking about Sharon. That day at work, Sharon reminds him to be his date for the next day's party and parts with him with a kiss. The kiss breaks the bond. For the first time in 4 weeks, Ben sleeps comfortably. He is awoken by a knock on his door telling him he has a call. He picks up the ring and the caller says he is Alex, the owner of a gallery. Ben is excited about this call. Little did he know that the caller was Matt, playing a prank on him. They all prepare for the party that evening. He goes to pick up Sharon and shares his good news with her. They get to the party and he meets Sean and his date, Catherine. He sees Susie, who comes to say to her. She tells him Jenkins is her new boyfriend, Steve's brother, so she is invited to the party. The private stripper arrives with her bouncer. She turns out to be Natalie, which gets Sean all excited. During the party, Susie meets with Ben and apologizes to him. She asks to get back with him and kisses him forcefully. Sharon sees this and gets angry. As Ben notices Sharon is angry, he freezes time. He concludes that time can only be frozen or slowed, but never rewound. He unfroze it and Sharon walks away. He walks to her house and it becomes the same thing that happened with Susie. She shouts at him and sends him away. The next day at work, Sharon didn't resume work. Ben visits the gallery house as planned, but figures he has been pranked. However, the owner asks to see his artwork and likes them. One day, Sharon receives an invite to Ben's art exhibition. She attends the exhibition and sees all the paintings are about her. They meet each other, and Ben tries to explain for himself, while Sharon stops him because she has finally realized how much Ben loves her. They kiss each other in the middle of the gallery. Ben then takes her outside to see the time-frozen snow. This time, she is also able to move freely in that space. Both of them kiss passionately, once more, and the movie ends. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a like to help the channel out, also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.